Laura Karpman. Underground is a show that is known for its bold music choices. You're the composer on this show.
Mhm.
Tell us a bit about how you found the specific sound for it, for the music.
Well, I co-composed the show with Raphael Sadiq, and for any of who know Raphael's work, he is an incredibly interesting musician. He's both totally now, and he's kind of got this neo soul thing going. So I mean, it was really something that Raphael and I worked with Misha and Joe to find. We talked a lot for a long time, and there were a lot of attempts at various different things. But mostly, what we decided is that we didn't care about time, that it was about emotion, it was about being visceral, it was reflecting both the urgency and the drama and the emotion that's going on, and that the fact that the show is a period place taking place pre-Civil War only affected us in that it influenced some of the sort of the instrumental choices at times. But for example, like, it would never be a straight up banjo, but it would be a process banjo, or it would never be, it would never be a fiddle in its normal kind of way. It was like an electric baritone violin. So there were all of these kinds of, we want to acknowledge the period, but we want to also take it in another direction. So I think it was really just saying, this is an urgent story. It's a theatrical story. It's a thriller. It's loaded with heart. It's loaded with all of the things that contemporary dramas have in them. And those were sort of our marching orders from Misha and Joe, and to never be ordinary.
Right, yeah, that's one of the things I was going to ask, because even though it's a show that's set 150 years ago, there's a certain expectation for the way that the music would sound in order to sell the period.
Right.
But you two sort of make great pains to sort of avoid that.
Yeah.
So was there any kind of research that you did into, like, music of the period that might have influenced a bit, or you said, well, let's change this?
Tremendous research. So basically, I came in with kind of like a big knowledge of spirituals and a lot of kind of period music, because I had worked on a project called Ask Your Mama, which was a Langston Hughes, a large-scale Langston Hughes project where it kind of bounces back and forth between times. So it was an aesthetic that I was used to and that I knew a lot about. But there were times I did a lot of research in terms of what was contemporary, what would African Americans played on the fiddle, because there's a kind of a rich tradition that we know of white music, but very little on, African American music, fiddle and banjo music. That we know a little bit from 12 Years a Slave, because that's the first person narrative and there's actual music printed in it. So I did do it, and there were times where like deep research had to be done. For example, Susanna, who's the mistress of the mansion, is quite a great pianist, and so what would you think that she would play at that time? And although it's really easy to say, oh, let's just get a Beethoven sonata, but I did research and found a lot of books of Southern piano girls who played piano in the South, and in fact any German music was deemed too masculine. And so what's interesting, and this is really fascinating, one of the big popular pieces that they were doing at that time was Louis Moreau Gottschalk, who was a man of mixed race, half African American, half Jewish, who wrote piano music at that time, and that was very popular among the Southern ladies. So in fact, Susanna's playing a piece of Gottschalk in the thing. So there was a lot of research done, and at sometimes we used it, and sometimes we threw it away.
Right. And how much did the individual characters influence the kinds of music that you would write? I mean, in other words, did you write specific themes for these characters?
Yeah, I mean, we did. There's Rosalie's theme, which is based on an old slave song, which is the da 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 da. There's the theme that John wrote, which is kind of the center song. John Legend, it's kind of the center song. There's All of God's Children Got Shoes, which is a Negro spiritual of the time, which is sung live on camera. There is a love theme for Noah and for Rosalie. There's a spy theme for the abolitionists that becomes kind of their music. I mean, it's a long show, so there are themes. That there's the kind of the running theme, which is loosely inspired by the Kanye West Black Skinhead that opens up the show. So you've got sort of that, the triplet toms, and and the breathing, this kind of overdone breathing. The sound of the breath is something that's really important in the score. And Raphael, of course, is a fabulous singer. So he does a lot of singing and a lot of breathing and a lot of all of that kind of stuff as well.
You brought that up. What's so interesting about the score for this show is that it does blend very well with the anachronistic music choices that are made. Sometimes those two seem to clash in other shows, but this one, there's a blending quality to it.
Yeah. Well, we would all sit in the room together. So John Legend, Raphael, Misha and Joe, me, Jonathan Christensen, the music supervisor, we would sit in the room and hash it out in spotting sessions. So basically, okay, we're going to go to this song there. Well, then how are we going to do that transition? So that Raphael and I would very much suggest like music edits, or I say, listen, I can do an introduction there. Or we can bridge that over with string, so that the weaving of the soundtrack was something that was very consciously done in spotting sessions in the room together. And there was not like source that would get put on by a music supervisor later. It was like, oh, do we have this song? No. Oh, would you guys do it? And, that kind of real collaboration. I mean, the great thing about the show is they love music. So often you work in something and music is, I mean, not that often, but every once in a while you work on something where like music is like the afterthought, or, oh God, we just need a cue hero. Thank you so much for, for doing this. Here it was like, this is a character, the place is a character. So, I mean, a lot of it is also, place driven. What did it feel like? And you have to ask yourself, that question as a contemporary audience, you have to be able to empathize and transport yourself to this place. And how do you do that? Do you do that with period music? Do you do it with contemporary music? You do it with song? You do it with score? That's what the deal is. I'm drinking a sip of my coffee.
Oh, go right ahead. Yeah, it all feels very integral, and it all feels very much of a piece, which is what's extraordinary about the music for the show. I was looking at your IMDb page right before we started doing this, and you've got quite the list of credits. I mean, you've done TV shows, you've done documentaries, you've done movies. What is it that attracts you to certain projects?
Well, this one's a dream project, and this is one of those unbelievably special jobs because I'm able to use, first of all, my collaboration with Raphael is very strong. We really love each other. He's my long lost brother. And the reason why he is because we're so different musically. And we come from such different places and such different backgrounds. And our collaboration is emblematic of what the show is kind of about in a funny way. And I think it's also, everyone can be themselves musically. If something needs like a classic scoring moment, I can do that. If something needs to feel like African music, that's a place that Raphael and I can get to. If something needs to feel like hip hop, that's a place we can get to. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not about, oh, now this feels like hip hop. Oh, this is an R&B moment. Oh, this is this is this is that. It's like, what does this need now? And because Raphael and I both come from, a lot of stylistic diversity in different ways, we're able to cast a huge net over the musical world, which I think probably services this particular show very, very well.
Mm-hmm. What's incredible about this show, too, is that it's obviously on a very important subject matter. It's a subject matter that can be, at times, grim. but it tells it in such a vibrant and exciting and new way.
Yeah.
And certainly the music is a part of that. So
it isn't a history lesson, is it?
no, it's not. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations. And I can't wait to see what happens next with it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the interview.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a good day.
Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.